Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at CVS Health. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and additionally it was also time for an update for this stock here. We have been previously tracking it, and on this chart we were looking at this idea of a series of 1-2 setups that have formed in this area, and we have been tracking this as the main interpretation. Now, let me be clear, other interpretations are possible, even within the idea that this may be a significant top within a singular wave 1. Now, I find this rather unlikely, and I do prefer the idea that we are now starting a large wave 3 to the upside, which itself should end up being actually the strongest move yet. So we may see quite aggressive and strong, overall strong third movement and impulsive structure to the upside forming in the near future. But we need to be aware and pace ourselves, because even other interpretations that would still allow for additional highs are possible that aren't necessarily allowing for a third wave to the upside itself. Now, if this really is a third wave to the upside, we would normally look for the 138.2% extension around the $320 level for an ideal target. But if it really is within this idea of a series of 1-2 setups, this should actually end up exceeding far beyond any expectations that we would really have within such a wave 3 to the upside. Now, internally in this correction, in this latest 1-2 setup, we have been tracking this idea that we have possibly bottomed in something like an ABC pattern. We have reached below the 61.8% retracement, but we generally bottomed around that area, and we had formed already in the previous video an initial 5-wave structure to the upside that we were tracking as an initial wave 1, and we were looking for the correction afterwards in a wave 2 that even at that point was clearly possible to have already bottomed, and the structure that was forming to the upside was suggesting direct pushes, a very likely, a very realistic bottom possible in this ABC pattern directly. But I still allowed for us to track a possible continuation within the correction, which in this case we didn't get, and it's not a problem since we did fulfill all the expectations for a correction here in a wave 2. Now, since this is done, we no longer need to track it, but since to the upside we have formed at least initially a structure that does seem to have quite a corrective structure, we need to be aware that this could easily end up being something like an ABC pattern developing to the upside, especially since within this movement there is no impulse, so it cannot be a third wave itself developing in this area. And regardless of that, we didn't get anywhere near the 138.2% extension. I believe we only got past the 61.8% retracement extension so far, and it is still quite weak, so we need to be very much aware that this could end up being again a larger ABC movement that could end up being just part of the larger correction that may be ongoing on this chart. And in that case, I would be watching out for this resistance area that we have in yellow between the $62.8 level all the way up to the $92.5 level. And also, besides this, which doesn't seem to be the most relevant, we did find some resistance in the 50% area previously, but nothing too significant. But besides this, we do also have very strong structural support, structural resistance in this area, towards which we pushed straight into it. But honestly, so far the chart does seem to hold pretty well for reaching such a level of resistance. Now, regardless of what may be going on in terms of what we have as resistance, we need to be tracking also internally this structure, which does have a few possible outcomes within what we may be able to count within it. And one of the possible counts would be the idea that this is a 1-2. This could be something like a third wave up, a fourth wave down, and then we could be looking here at a fifth wave to the upside. I was normally preferring this interpretation, and this could still be something that may be ongoing, but honestly, it is very easy actually for me to consider that this may be instead something like a 1-2 setup itself, and then we may have a series of 1-2 1-2 setups in this area that would allow for a third wave to start a very strong and aggressive trend directly. Now, regardless of what we may expect, we need to be looking at the levels. So yeah, we always trade the levels, not the count. So a general area of support, if we fail to form additional highs and we break below support zone that I will provide you shortly here on the shorter time frame, we will be looking out for support in the area between the $73 level all the way down to the $63 level at the 78.6% retracement. And for now, yeah, even within this count that we have here in white, I am able, now this would be within a diagonal structure likely, and I would consider this a possible ABC pattern to be developing to the upside, and within the wave C, I would look at this as a possible 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th that would unfold. And in such a case, I would be watching out for support here in the area for, or support in a wave 4, in the area between the $81.8 level all the way down to the 50% retracement at the $80 level. So far, we got to the 38.2% retracement, which is the ideal target for wave 4. Yeah, we did find support, and we may already be on our way to in the 5th wave to the upside. Now, I won't go too much deeper into this correction. Yeah, it could be an ABC that had unfolded and is done. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that could suggest further continuation to the downside. Now, depending on how this structure unfolds, for now, in such a case, we are still within resistance, but I would need to allow also all the way up to the 61.8% retracement for a more bearish count in this area. Okay, something, actually this would be, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th. So we need to be watching out because, yeah, forming a 5-wave move to the downside would be a warning signal that, yeah, this is probably going to fail. We will probably need additional, at least an additional low within a structure, at least in something like an ABC pattern. But also, what I wanted to show you, what I wanted to point out is also this idea that we may actually have a wave 1 complete in this area. We have a wave 2 here. And in that case, we may be developing an internal, something like a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup could be possible. And in that case, I would allow for a larger correction right now within a wave 2 here in a blue scenario, from where if we manage to form a very strong third wave to the upside, we could still be looking to develop the actual wave 3. Now, it is difficult to make this count work, right? We don't have a clear wave structure. It is lacking in structure, and that isn't necessarily the biggest problem. It does happen in, yeah, a third wave, especially when you keep making higher highs and higher lows in such a fashion. It does happen to lack a little bit of structure before you complete the initial wave. You get then somewhat of a pattern of a possible 1, 2, 1, 2, something like that. And in this case, I would still like to track this idea, and I would be looking for support for such a pattern in the area between the $80.3 level all the way down to the $77 level. Now, if we actually break even below the 50% retracement, honestly, it is a bit of a warning sign. I would like it, if it really is a third wave to the upside, I would like it to still manage to push in a pretty direct fashion without too deep of a retracement, yeah, possibly having already bottomed. But if we break below the 78.6% retracement, it would be a pretty great warning sign that we are probably going to head to the deeper area of support, forming at least a larger 1-2 setup, if not something even more bearish. Yeah, other more bearish options could be something like an ABC that could be in wave 1, okay? So this could end up being developing in a larger diagonal structure, probably a wave C or a 5th wave to the upside. But also, yeah, it could be possible that we may see a more significant reset. So right now, I would prefer to continue this uptrend, but yeah, we have some backup scenarios that could still allow a more direct continuation to the upside. Yeah, this white smaller support zone is kind of the last area of support for a more direct breakout scenario, where this would be something like a 1, 2, 1, 2. If this fails, yeah, I it would actually be quite bearish for the chart unless we get a full reset within the correction in wave 2. And for now, there really isn't much else to add. These are the levels, these are the trade setups, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.